Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Engage to Flourish podcast. This is Damon, and back with us again. He's been recapping a lot of the things that the Lord has been showing him, teaching him through this difficult journey that he's been on the last season, is Kyle.
Yes.
So welcome back, Kyle.
Thank you, Damon.
And we have another special guest in studio today, someone that we've been kind of pitching that will be on to share her side of the story, because Kyle hasn't been on this journey alone. He's been carefully caretaken by someone, and so we wanted to get her perspective.
And gently nudged at times.
Or pushed.
And not gently sometimes too. But yeah, so we wanted to invite Mimo to come on. So welcome to the show, Mimo. Welcome back.
Hello.
And so hopefully today we will get some, we were kind of teasing this a little bit in our prep, but there could be some sparks flying. But yeah, so, it has been a few episodes. We've been recapping what Kyle's been going through and his journey. And, the Lord hasn't just been speaking to him, but the Lord's been speaking to Mimo as well, and helping to guide her as she's been taking care of Kyle and taking care of her family and just everything. We wanted to hear from her. So, yes, let's just get started. So, Mimo, how has this journey been for you the last few months?
Well, it's weird. It's kind of been long, but it doesn't seem like it's been that long. I was off work for 10 weeks, I guess. And it kind of seemed like it was so long because initially when I asked for a time off, I was like, I asked for like 4 weeks off first. No.
You were going to do. I just said, just do 8.
Yeah, I think I asked for 8. And I was like, oh, gosh, I'll be going back to work in like 2 weeks. And it went to 4 weeks. And I was like, crap. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, then I had to ask for an extension. So it's been a journey. I couldn't wait to go back to work, actually.
Yeah, she was dying to go back to work. I'm like, you're off right now. Like, just relax. No. I think it would be helpful. There's a time when I was with my therapist when she gave me an insight. And then when I told you, you were like, yes, that's what I've been saying. When she told me that my nervous system is like being reset, so I'm like a newborn, right? And then when I told you that, you started laughing at me because why?
Well, I have been saying to people it's like taking care of a newborn baby. I had to wake up every hour and a half, 2 hours when Kyle would wake up. And then like dinner time, right around dinner time is when he got, I'm doing air quotes, fussy. Just
no,
like a baby.
It was early afternoon.
Early afternoon, dinner time.
Dinner time was
fussy.
Meltdown.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a big baby on hand. Yep.
I know, and it's funny because once you made that connection, I looked backward and I'm like, oh my gosh, that it's true. Like that's what's been happening. I don't know if it would have helped if I knew that early on. It probably would have made me more frustrated. But I'm like, oh, it helped me with expectations, and it helped me like realize like, oh, I'm on a journey. My system has to kind of grow and mature. It can't, even though my mind still knows things, it's just going to take time. And so, yeah, when you were like, yes, now somebody else finally said that. That's true.
I think I said it to you too, but maybe you didn't hear it, like
maybe not.
Maybe you just didn't hear it.
The ringing was too loud.
Maybe. Oh, and then I think when you said ringing, it didn't really I couldn't picture or I couldn't imagine what a ringing might be, because ringing is, to me, like ringing is like, oh, the bell's ringing. Like it doesn't sound that bad. And then I went to a dentist office, and when they were cleaning my teeth, and it was like so obnoxious and loud and hurtful and piercing, and I was like, oh, I think this is what Kyle means by ringing. I was like, oh, I wouldn't call it ringing. I don't know what I would call it, like drilling in my ears, I guess.
Yeah, so now I just say my noises, because it's like, it's true. It's not. It's
because ringing sounds nice, like, or it could be.
It could be,
right?
Or even like the type of tinnitus I had before was more like a nicer type. It was kind of a nuisance, but not like that bad. But this was like a whole different animal.
Yeah. Well, and you had like Tetris sounds at one point. I don't know.
Oh, Galaga, come on.
Oh, Galaga. Okay, one of those old video games.
I'm chuckling a little bit because 2 seconds before they pulled up today, the alarm in the Freedom Center was going off, and I was trying to get it to turn off, and it was so loud.
I've been here with that happen before, and that's like the first week. It was like that intense at times where I'm like, you just have to cover your ears because it's so loud. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's like if this is anything like what Kyle's experiencing, it's like torture.
It's torment.
And I was
yeah.
only in here for like 10 minutes maybe while
Yeah.
it was going off. And it
Yeah.
was just so loud and it was just piercing. And it was, so I was chuckling a little bit because I got maybe a taste of it for 10 minutes and it was like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah. And that's the hard part because Kyle's the only person that can hear those noises. So it's hard to imagine what it's like because I can only kind of, I don't know, I guess imagine, but I don't exactly know what it's like for him. So.
Okay, so from my end, it's been hard at times where I feel like I was dictating the house, like just the culture of the house. Like, okay, things got to be quiet, things got to be this, or be that, because things would trigger and set me off, and it was hard, and it was hard for me then to see everybody have to like walk on eggshells, so to speak, and tiptoe around. And at first it was like, okay, because I thought it was going to end quicker. And so I didn't, but then after a while, I felt the burden of that too. Like, how was that on your end of just, like, did you have thoughts like, was this going to like upset his nervous system? Is this going to like trigger anything or?
Kinda, but the nice thing with through this whole process, what I can say is I'm grateful for that fact that our kids are a lot older. We don't have toddlers. They're teenagers. So they, there's issues that come with teenagers, but they can be quiet. They don't have to make a lot of noise. They understand that you don't feel well. So they can kind of sympathize a little bit too. And so it was actually, with this happening, like it couldn't have happened at a better time as far as their ages, with them being able to have a better understanding of what their dad's going through, and also be able to be empathetic and know that you can't handle certain things. It doesn't make it easier, but it makes it a little bit more manageable, I guess.
I know one of the things that Kyle's been sharing with me and just kind of in general during this season is, he's someone that's like a go-getter. So just like wanting this to be done sooner and wanting to get through it. How has it been for you in helping him to manage his expectations of like this process?
So I think Kyle and I are different in a way where I have positivity is like one of my first, I think that's my top, huh? Yeah, that's my top strength and strength finders. And I think that's Kyle's last. So
it's pretty far down the list, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was like the number 36 or whatever it is in the
wow,
bottom of
sparks are flying.
So I think that helped me too because I see things as glass full. So
even when it's half empty, she sees it as full. So that's a good thing.
Exactly. So I think there are things that happen that stunk and was bad, but I'll try to see a positive side of it too. So that helped me keep going. And then I try to encourage Kyle through that too. Because a lot of things that before he started even working with his psychologist, a lot of things we had to work on was changing Kyle's thinking because he has a tendency to go to the negative area. So then I have to kind of say, okay, this is what you said, but let's rephrase it or reframe it in a way where this is what happened, but like, I get to do this, so I think that helped. Then you got to work more with your psychologist, but before he can get in to see the psychologist, that's a lot of things what we're doing was kind of reframing your thinking and
that didn't catch right away, but we would go on walks and I would just debrief with her like what I was feeling, what I was going through and my emotions and like how hard it was. And it felt like there was little hope. And so then we go on a walk and then she would help me find hope in circumstances and reshape. And I'm like, okay, that's true. Okay, I can hold on to that. And then that would help me get through that afternoon or that day or that night. And there was a couple of them where I'm like, I was like ready to give up. Like, I don't know what else to do. And then she'd be like, yeah, but those other options, like, but those aren't going to do anything either. Like, look what you did yesterday. So she would help me like get perspective. And then even after I started getting tools from the therapist, like, she had to help me like put them into practice and be like, hey, remember your therapist talked to you about this? I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, let me think that through. And she would be able to catch me because I would debrief with her a lot. And I told you before, I'm more of an internal processor, but I'm finding out, well, sometimes I have to externally process because some of them I get stuck in my own thinking. And so then sometimes I would say stuff out loud and I'm like, that doesn't sound good or sound right. And then she would help me kind of reframe it. And yeah, that was very helpful.
Yeah. So, but the reason I said I wanted to go back to work is like, it's easier dealing with other people's stuff than like my own stuff.
Yeah.
That's like, it's harder. Like with my work, I have to deal with other people's stuff, which it's like, I can distance myself, but this is with my husband and I'm in it, so it's like, oh my gosh, I can get back. I want to go to work. But yeah, but
you've been through other things with me before too, so you've probably built up some.
Maybe, but like seriously, like there were so many people praying for us, and then sometimes people would ask how they can be praying for us or what's going on with Kyle, and it just was too hard to explain, and then also I didn't want to speak for Kyle, so I didn't want to say too much either. So like I'm like, because I remember I kept saying Kyle's going to get to a point where he'll be able to share more of what's been going on. But it's just, and then things would change, like morning and afternoon, the same day could be so different from each other. Yeah. Each day was so different. Like, I mean, he could have a really good day. And then by the time the nighttime came, it was like, oh my gosh, not this again. It just was so up and down. It was hard to describe what's going on.
But you carried a lot at the beginning. So she didn't tell me this until in May, I think. It was way later, or April or May. It started in January, but you had your own physical symptoms going on that you were carrying. And I'm glad you didn't tell me because I think it would have been too much to carry. But why don't you share that part? Because I'm like, oh, shoot. It makes sense of what you went through, and then how you even had to like deal with it in your own way.
So I think I was clenching my jaws, or I was maybe like grinding my teeth or in my sleep because of stress. I didn't realize how bad it was, but I was at work because this is before I went on my leave.
You took a week and a half off at the beginning, and then you went back for a little bit.
Yeah. Then after that, I was like, I got to take a leave of absence. I can't keep like taking one day off at a time. So, I was at work and I got the worst headache, and it was all from my like jaw area, and it just went to the head, and it just was, I don't get headaches that often. I get them sometimes, but I was like, oh man, I think I've been just under stress. And so then I had to be more mindful of how to release that stress. So then I guess I just started doing workout videos more at home too, because I like to work out. So, and I couldn't really go too many places because I didn't feel comfortable leaving Kyle alone a lot of times, especially at the beginning. I really couldn't leave home. Again, it was like having a baby. So like I would joke around sometimes and I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't leave until I have a babysitter at home. And then people would be laughing, but I was like, I meant it. I was like, I couldn't leave Kyle home alone. So, but then the later it got on though, but I felt like how I was like your security blanket, right? So then you wouldn't want me to go to certain places. Like, well, what? Like you'll be fine. Yeah. But then I think it just was one of those things where we had to learn the new way to go through like that particular stage of what you were going through. So yeah, it's a lot. It's only like that started like in January, so it's been like 5 months, I guess. But
almost 4.5. Yeah.
But I feel like it's been, in some ways it feels longer than that, I guess, because it's been so up and down. But yeah.
I'm just enjoying hearing this side of the story too, because I mean, so for me personally, I've been able to connect with Kyle a little bit more. Just we'd go on walks or do things and get caught up, and I haven't heard Mimo's side of the story either. So it's interesting for me to hear from her perspective, just this whole journey too.
Yeah. There were 2 particular times when I got really, really mad. Or I was frustrated. And I was mad.
It's okay. You could say you were mad.
Like, well, I would use a different word, but I'm not going to say it. But so one time, this was end of March. Kyle, so we had gotten tickets to go see the Bananas baseball game. And then the morning of, this was a Friday, the morning of, Kyle calls me like at 6 a.m. I was doing something, getting breakfast ready or something. And then he's like, I don't think you can go. And I was like, huh? He's like, I don't think I can be home alone. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, because we had been preparing for that for like a few weeks. Like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to take Ezra and two of his friends. I'll be gone for this many hours, but you'll be fine. So then for him to spring that on in the morning and...
well, there was a lead up to it. Like it was
I guess.
that week I was doing really well, and then I had a kind of a setback, and then I had a hard night. And I'm like, okay, I'll be better the next day. And then it was up and down, but I had that in the back of my mind. Like I gotta feel better by Friday, because that's when she's going to be gone for a long time. And then by Friday I was like in a worse place. So yeah.
Yeah. So it took me like I texted Damon. I was like, hey Damon, what do you have going? And you had a birthday party. And then, so anyway, we ended up finding, thank goodness to Trisha and Mark. They were my lifesavers there. They were able to take Ezra and his friends with them because they were already going. And then, so like that morning, I was so frustrated because it took me like 6 o'clock until like noon to figure out who's going to take care of them. And then, so I was really frustrated. I would be crying because I was so frustrated. Not necessarily just at Kyle, but I just was upset at the whole situation. And I didn't care if I missed out. I was looking forward to going too. I didn't care I missed out, but I didn't want Ezra and his friends to miss out on something that they were looking forward to. So then, so that was Friday, and Ezra ended up having a great time. His friends had a great time, and Dylan went too. And then,
it was that night. We were on a walk.
Wait, what happened that night? Was
it
that night?
The sleep thing. Yeah. It was that like right around dinner time or right before or after dinner. And I'm like, I really want to sleep good tonight. I said something like that. And then that triggered you. That's where I thought you were going with this. So,
I forgot I was going to do something. Okay. Yeah. So then I got upset. And I was like, Kyle, like, when I became a mom, when moms don't sleep, I kind of went off on Kyle.
You did.
I was like, moms don't sleep. Once we become a mom, we don't sleep. Sometimes I go with 2 hours of sleep. I take care of everybody else and myself. And you keep saying, I need sleep. I need sleep. And I was like, you get 5 hours of sleep. I was like, why isn't that enough? I was upset. I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't get sleep. I have to keep going. Moms, that's just how the way moms are. And anyway,
men are weak. That's what you were saying. You were saying all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so then
I was like, guys have it. Yeah.
And then what did I share? And then how was that?
You just said
different?
It was because it's like something that you think about all day, kind of like planning for it. And it's not just sleep, but the quality of sleep and just the noise that you're hearing, that you had to manage the noise. So it's not just the sleep, but it's really managing the...
It's the longer I sleep, the less I have to deal with the noise.
Yeah.
The less I'm tormented by it, basically. And I was like, I wake up tired. I don't care. It's just then I have to deal with the noise that many more hours. So I want to sleep more so I don't have to deal with it. That was my perspective.
Yeah. So that was.
So when you said that, and when I said that, you were like, oh, I thought you were just tired. I'm like, heck no. Like I don't care if I'm tired. I'm tired of like dealing with the noise. I just want to be knocked out longer so I don't have to deal with it that many more hours.
Yeah. But the good thing was like that weekend. So like I was really praying, like I was crying out to God really. I was like, and Eli was gone that week. He was at a like week-long missions trip with school. So I just was like, God, like I just want Ezra to have a good night, like on Friday, like this is what he was looking forward to. But then he ended up having a really fun day Saturday, and he had a fun day Sunday. So like by the end of that week, I was like
you were fulfilled.
Yeah, I was. No, God did more than just fulfill my like ask of give Ezra a good Friday night. He gave Ezra a good Saturday and gave a good Sunday. Like the whole weekend, Ezra has such a good weekend. He has so much fun. So then I was crying in a different way, just like really thankful to God. Because like Friday, I was like in despair. And by Sunday, I was like just so thankful that God just did more than what I asked for, like more than what I could imagine for Ezra. So I was really, really thankful for that. So, yeah. Yeah.
You were going to go somewhere else with that story, you said?
Oh no, I was gonna go to the thing with Ezra, but I didn't forget about me like going off about moms being tired.
Good, because I remember that part.
Because moms, you guys are listening. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We take care of the dad and the kids when we're sick, and they're on the couch pretending like they're dying. So anyway.
Whoa.
I'll leave that one alone.
Yep.
Next topic, Damon.
I feel personally attacked on that
one. So then it was interesting because then the next day, the Monday, I had a doctor appointment, and it was a big shift. She updated my sleeping meds and found out the one medication I was taking was actually aggravating my noises. And so, I mean, it was just from like a horrible week and a super challenging weekend to like this transformational time. And then there were still ups and downs from there, but that's how the journey was. It was like such highs and lows and emotions all over the place. It was, I'm sure it was very frustrating on your end.
Well, just exhausting.
Exhausting,
right?
yeah.
That's exhausting. Yeah. But like really but then I think I had to keep reminding myself and reminding Kyle that we see the big picture.
Yes,
and I never doubted God would restore Kyle. Like I knew that there would be good things coming out of it. It really stinks. And
you said that early on, and you were telling me like trying to give me that to hold on to early on.
Like the days where I had to sing over you and pray over you like all through the night. Like, and sometimes when Kyle would be like, can you pray for me? Can you sing over me? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But I was like, okay, like this is what I need to do. And then when Kyle would be like, I have no hope, I'm like, no, like we're not gonna believe, like, we're gonna be speaking against that. Like Jesus is our hope. Like, so I think when Kyle was sick, like 2018, I think I was in a different place.
18, yeah.
I think it's 18, right? Yeah. I was in a different place, I think, too. So I think my faith wasn't as strong as far as like trusting God. Like I knew that God is good. And, but I think this time around, I think I was able to just hold on like even stronger to the fact that God was walking. Like God doesn't say that he's not going to give us easy life. He's going to say we're going to have difficulties, but he's with it in that difficulty. So even when we're going through really like it seems like the bottom of I don't know how much lower we can get kind of situation, I knew God was in there and he was holding us through it. So like I never doubted that God left us, but he was with us even though the circumstances were horrible. So so that's why I think I was able to and I plus the fact that there were so many people praying for us. How can you not have hope, right? Like, how can you not have hope when you know that Jesus is with you, even when it stinks? So he didn't leave. He never leaves us. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because as you're talking, it's like, I think this was last year we were talking a lot about the brain book, right? The book, and how, the reality of we can have a renewed mind. And so it's like Kyle's like, as this journey's gone on, like Mimo, you've definitely been someone to help him in this, recognize that old patterns, the old ways that he was thinking, and then say like, no, we're not going to think like that anymore. We're going to shift. We're going to change. And it's like you guys are living out that book and what we've been talking about, a renewed mind and everything. And you have like someone that's tangibly like walking you through this, Kyle. And where for a lot of people, it's like, oh, that sounds good, or it's hopeful. And it's like, oh, how much of a difference has it made having someone like speak into you in that way, as opposed to just like, I need to shift this or I need to stop, but having someone there to kind of help direct it. How's that been?
Huge. I mean, that's why through this whole thing, community and just relationships are been highlighted. Like I had it stripped away. But then, like that was the one. Mimo and the kids were the one that were still with me. But I had gotten so beat up and run down that I had trouble fighting for myself early on, And so I needed her to be that voice, to be like, no, like this is the way, you need to stand against different thoughts and different emotions. And and so in 2018, I had a bleeding ulcer and I passed out at home, fell out of the shower. I mean, it was traumatic. And then I was in the hospital for a week, and it was like ups and downs. And it was like, I know it's very stressful for you, Mimo. And then, but my recovery then was a little bit slow, but then it wasn't like this. It was a lot different. And it kind of but I know that traumatized you. And even, I know you had to like deal with that afterwards. But then this time, like just seeing your strength, even hearing about your jaw pain later, I was like, man, I had no clue, because like you were so strong and like held it together. I could see the evidence that you're a different person. Like God's done a lot in you in those last 8 years. Like you have so much more strength. You've always been a strong person, but it's a different foundation now. So
yeah, thank you, Jesus.
Well, kind of speaking on that, how has that been different for you this time around? Because I mean, I remember that time was pretty scary, right? Like Kyle was in the shower, he fell like,
and Eli was in the bathroom when Kyle fell too, so he
in front of him.
Yeah, he witnessed it, and so that was, and so like again, like the kids being older too, it's just in a different place, and it's good to see like one of our kids is very empathetic, so he always is like, oh, how's dad doing, and this, and he's really caring. And then it's just nice to see that they're in a different place too, and they're older, so they can actually like kind of help me watch out for Kyle too. Not that they're taking care of you per se, but just like they're part of the team, right? Like it's a family. Like our whole family was kind of looking over you, and it didn't have to be just me. Like, I mean, obviously the kids are still kids, and they are not taking place of a parent per se. But that was good. And then I think again, like knowing a lot of people praying for Kyle and people that would reach out to me, and I couldn't say too much because I didn't know what I could say and what I shouldn't say. On behalf of Kyle, because I wanted him to
how to say it on the text too.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So, but there were a lot of people that were offering prayers, and so that meant a lot too.
And for everyone that's listening right now, it's like, think about the last few weeks that we've been sharing on the podcast. Like, if you have to tell that story to every single person that's texting you, or it's like, it's just too much, right?
Too much,
so even in one day, so much could happen. Like,
Because, sometimes people ask me, like, oh, how... So, like, I think I remember telling your sister, Kyle, like, how's today? And I said, well, today's bad. Yesterday was bad. But then if we look at, like, how was this week, you can see that there's a bump in an upward way. Like,
it's still better than the week before.
So, like, it was almost easier to look week by week versus day by day.
Yeah.
So then, like, that all, like, again, like, because I knew, like, when this started, right, I was like, I'm not a future-oriented person per se, but I knew that I had to look at a big picture and, like, kind of try to see what God's doing in the big picture versus, like, each moment matters, but also there's a big picture in it, too. So
well, to me, that, excuse me, that brings up one other tool I got from my therapist that I forgot to share the last episode was journaling. And that's not journaling like what I'm doing with God. It was like my day-to-day, like keep track of the noise levels, like, and what you were doing. So that started with like number system, like, okay, 1 to 10, what was it like? Then I'm looking like, okay, well, last week it was this week it's this, and what was I doing? And then I shifted it because I think I'm too analytical, so it was too much number driven. And then I just started doing, okay, what am I doing? And I just write, like, how was I feeling afterwards? And I just, even up to last week or the week before, I just had some days where I'm like, I feel crummy. Like, I feel like I'm like backwards. And then I would look, well, let me look at my journal. And I looked to the week before and I'm like, oh yeah, I had, excuse me, I had some hard days there. And it's actually kind of similar to this week, but this week I've actually done more. So I'm actually further along. So I'm like, oh yeah, even though today's hard, I'm actually better.
I think it was easier to forget when you're in the moment, how hard it is, and how much you had to do to stay calm or whatever. But then when you look back, you're like, oh, it feels hard in the moment. But when you like when you're kind of stepping yourself out and looking bigger, you can see that like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing about life, right? Like when we're in the middle of something really, really hard, like you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, you know, but then you step out just for a little bit and try to see the bigger picture, and you see like, oh God, you're good. Like I've improved compared to last week, even if I feel like this, you know? So there's so much life lessons to be learned. But
then it still got to a pinnacle of when God kind of really shook me in the first Sunday of May. Then when I told you that when you got home from church, what was your response?
What did I say?
You're like, it's about time. Oh. Get your stuff together. Oh. Kind of with maybe different words involved. But like, that's what I felt. I'm like, but you even told me like I could see it from the outside, but I was trying to help you get to that place, but I had to get to it on my own. Yeah. And you were still helpful, but I still had to get to like a bottom out. Like I'm done. I'm desperate. I need your help. I can't do this anymore. And I kind of had some moments like that along the way, but they weren't fully like submitted, you know, and those were growing things and stuff too. But then you were like, yes, finally, like.
Yeah, because I think I saw fear stopping you, right? So then I would see that and I would try to say things nicely, but I think I wasn't really getting to you. Well, I was trying to be nice. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't nice, but I felt like I was trying to be nice. But I would say things to you to see that your fear is stopping you from doing whatever. And then... But then I don't think you saw it that way. So then it would frustrate me, but I was like, well, I can't make you do things. It's your choice.
Well, I would see it in the short term, but then I'd get past it and I'd feel better, and it wasn't deep enough rooted. Mm-hmm. So it would help me get through the issue, the moment, but it wasn't like where it was going to shift my trajectory or change my direction, so to speak. And so it was still helpful, and I needed it, but I had to get to my own place to make that shift into like a whole different like direction.
So how was that for you, Mimo, trying to help, or maybe not help, but trying to discern how much like he had to go through on his own to get there versus like how much you wanted to help push him?
Well, so like I think it's true with a lot of different people, and like when people are addicted to something too, they kind of have to get to the bottom, and when they get to the bottom, I hope that they will see that this is a bottom and you really can't go anywhere else, and that Jesus really is the only one that can take you out of that pit and bring you up. So with Kyle, I think I was trying, but then I also knew that it was his timing, and him meaning Kyle's timing, and realizing that he can't go any further down, and then just really have to have Jesus' help. So
and I had to get to the place of I can't do this on my own, and I had Mimo's support, and I was doing it myself, and God was, and I was crying out to God, and he was helping me, but I was still striving still in my own way. And that's the part where no matter what you said, I still had to kind of get to that part myself and be like, I'm just tired of this model. Like it works to an extent, but it's not the life I want to live. I gotta just do it different. God, like and then that's when he was like, okay, good. You finally got there. This is what I want you to do. I'm like, really? That seems so hard. I can't do that. But I actually said I said already, I can't do it my own. I already said it to you. So, okay, if that's what you want me to do, then I'm going to go down your path, but it better work out well, or I'm going to be upset, or I'm not going to trust you. But it's just so God that he lets us flail around on our own and flop around and be like, I'll put you back in the water, but you got to ask for it, or you got to be ready for it. Oh, I can get there myself. But I can't breathe now. I'm having trouble. It's like, because you're a fish out of water. Like, let me put you back in where you belong, but you got to do it my way. And it's like, okay.
So one of the things that you said, Kyle, was kind of highlighted to me was that, right, like, it helped for a little bit, but you didn't get to the depth that you needed to get to. Like, how do you help, or how do you recognize when it's deep enough, right? Because I think sometimes it's like, oh, we're dealing with some of our stuff and it's like, okay, the pain is gone, I'm good, move on. But it hasn't gone to that level of like fully being healed or fully being made whole. And then it comes back out later. So how do you recognize when it's like, okay, yeah, that was what I really needed, and not just like that was the Band-Aid that I needed for now that's gonna just cover it up so it's not painful right now.
Well, that's where I think my whatever months long thing was like a condensed version of just the spiritual life or just life in general. Like I think God's very gracious with us on our journeys through life. Like we get healing for a certain thing to the depth that we can handle at the time, because that's just all our capacity is. And then a year later, it's like, oh, I thought I dealt with that. Oh, but it's back. Oh, but there's a different level to it. Okay, now I'm gonna do it. And sometimes that can happen 2, 3, 4, 5 times, a bunch of times. So I was getting them like week to week. I was doing, or like every other week it was kind of happening, right? It was like a 2-week pattern. And I would go through this like kind of pit and deal with fear and kind of surrender certain things. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm feeling better. So it was kind of that same journey, but each time I was getting to like a deeper place and like it was getting harder even. And then it was like, I just like, I can't keep doing this. I can't mentally handle this. It's so frustrating and tiring that, okay, God, what's the better way? And then I was just so thankful that he gave me like just clear instructions, like just trust me. I'll lead you. And it was scary, but at the same time I had my spirit so I forgot to share this, I think too, like that day that happened, I went on a walk. And it was funny. I just was kind of reflecting on what just happened. Like I was crying out to God and all these different things. He was having me journal. And then I was thinking about it. And inside I could feel like my spirit was like super happy. It was like, this is going to be so fun. It was like doing like cartwheels, so to speak. But then my flesh was like, oh no, we can't do this. Like this is going to be so hard. And so I had this conflicting feelings, like, part of me was like, yeah, this is going to set you on a different path and this is going to be so good. And the other part was like, no, this is going to be like hell, basically. Like you can't go down this. And I had to surrender basically and go like, okay, I feel it in my spirit. This is going to be a good outcome. So I think that was helpful, but I don't know. I knew until I just got to that place where, okay, God gently led me like for probably 4 weeks or so into like 3 different episodes. And each time it was like tearing away my own self-sufficiency, I think. And it was like, okay, there's got to be a better way, God. You have to have a better way.
Yeah, I feel like God just takes us to he's so gracious that he knows what we can handle at that time, right? So he took you to where he knew you can handle to a certain level. Then you got there. Then there's another layer that he has to get to meet you or you to meet him. He's waiting for you. And then another layer. And so so sometimes we want things to be done right away, but it just isn't good for us to finish our process right away because we're not going to learn or we'll forget. Oh yeah. Like that's,
or you just can't handle it.
Yeah. So it's like God's timing is just, his timing is just much better than what we can imagine.
I thought back on that, like, why couldn't this have happened 4 weeks earlier? Like that would have made everything so much better. And then I was like, oh no, but in those weeks he gave me certain like kind of tools and certain things that had developed my trust in him. And like, no, I think I would have given up. I wouldn't have been able to hold to it. And so it was like, okay, well, I have to trust that this was part of the plan. I would like it to go a lot faster. That was part of my struggle at the beginning. My expectations were like, oh, in a month or so, I'll be feeling good, or maybe 6 weeks. And that set me back in some ways because I would push too hard. And then, oh man, I feel crummy now. And I didn't know that was just part of the journey. I had to just like let it take its time.
Yeah.
I had something and then you guys kept going. I was like, okay. Okay, so, we're talking a little bit about like, as things come, we get to a certain point and then kind of go a little bit deeper as we're prepared and we're ready for it. Do you guys, I mean, this will go to both of you guys, I guess. Do you guys feel like it has to be something that not necessarily the Lord initiates, but like the Lord allows to happen? Or do you think that we can get there on our own? Like in terms of like the submission, the surrender, do you feel like someone can get to that point where it's like, I don't need something to happen to me to get me to that place because I can go there myself? Or do you feel like it's really I mean, it can happen, but it's really difficult to get there without circumstances? Just curious.
I think it just depends on your spiritual maturity. I think when you're not as mature, sometimes you can't get there without going through hard things, because that's what builds your perseverance and your maturity. And not that when you're mature, like you don't have hard things, but I think you deal with them differently. This whole journey has matured me in a way that I couldn't have got without going through these hard things. And I've got depth that I would have never been able to get. And so I know that Mimo was speaking that into me early on. And I actually grabbed hold of that, like that thought pattern pretty early too. And I'm like, okay, I know there's going to be good. And I could even see, like, even just through like some of the first few days, like some of the things that were happening, I'm like, okay, there's going to be good that's going to come out of this. But the enemy's not going to want me to like glean it and carry it forward either. So he's going to do all he can to discourage me and like minimize it. So I need to be diligent with my journaling so I can go back on it later. So I haven't even gone back to it that much yet, but I think that's going to be a huge thing for me. But the sad things, I mean, I know people that I interact with in life that I'm like, they need a catastrophe almost in their life to be able to be shooken and woken up and be like, God, I'm trying to do this on my own. I need you. And it sucks because I think that's what it takes sometimes. I think God can do it in small ways where he can get our attention. And if we're attentive to that, it doesn't have to be like a big thing. He can just do it in little ones. This one, I don't know that it was that he was trying to get my attention. It might have been. I'll have to still process some of that. But I think he needed me to go forward in a whole different manner. So I think I had to have certain things torn down. So I don't know if this was God's plan or whatever, but I know he's using it for the outcome he wants. So, yeah.
For me, I guess, it doesn't have to be anything big that has to happen. But I think in my relationship with God, I think I've just by, podcasts I listen to or reading or talking to other people, I see my need for things to change in my life. So I slowly work at it, right? And then big things like this happen. But the cool thing is, like you get what you get out, or you get out what you put in kind of thing. And this has been, it showed me like whatever things that I've worked on for the last several years has like
absolutely
like not, I don't know if paid off is the right word, but it has,
there's fruit.
There's fruit.
Yeah.
Like I can see that. Like, so when my dad has gone through some health crisis in the last year, and I was just reflecting back on how like, for the women's Bible study, we did the scripture practice last summer. And there was one thing about memorizing Psalms or like scripture. So I memorized like Psalm 23. And when I was with my dad, I was praying that over him a lot. And then I actually prayed that over Kyle too, like when he was going through that. And just like different things like that, I don't think I would have done in the past. So I think God can change people in little ways too. Like but then it takes work on my from me, not works in like a bad way to get salvation because I'm already saved, but works as far as like being like growing in my faith and maturing in my faith and becoming more like Jesus. So I think
I was just gonna say that. You're gonna say becoming more like Jesus. JMC.
So it's like one of
that's John Mark Comer.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where but it's really cool to see the fruit that comes out of like what I've put into it too, right? Because I mean, I don't know, maybe I would have freaked out more. I mean, there were moments I was like, are you kidding me? But
but I remember one of those times you prayed Psalm 23 over me. God had just given me that, like, lead me beside quiet waters and green pastures, and I was like, and then you said it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that's what God just gave me that to sit with, because I was so tense. I needed something peaceful to just like to dwell on. And then you prayed that over me, and I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Like, you didn't just give that to me, you gave it to Mimo to give me at the same time. And that was so comforting. Like, oh God, like you're with me. Like that was powerful. Like that was such a simple thing that just sprung out from your Bible study last year. And then, that was cool.
Yeah, so one of the things that you had mentioned was like you get out what you put in. Okay, and as a church, one of the things that we talk about is like striving, right? And how the Lord isn't calling us to strive for things, right? So how do you reconcile that, right? The get out what I put in and not do it from a perspective of like striving for that. How do you reconcile the two?
So for me, it's I do the things that I do because I want to be closer to Jesus, not because I want to be better at who I am, but I want to be closer to Jesus. So my focus is not to improve myself as a person, but I think just to make help my relationship with Jesus be deeper. I think that's my focus, I think.
It's funny because you're highly relational, so that makes sense.
True.
Like you want to have a good relationship with him, and that's not as high of a strength for me. But this season has made that like highlighted. Like, oh my gosh, like my relationship can have so much more depth when I slow down. And all I had was the time to like try to focus on Jesus because I couldn't handle the sounds and stuff. And it's carrying forward. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be so much different for me. And it doesn't feel like before. I think it would have felt more like striving. Like I'm trying to deepen my relationship, but it would have felt different. So for me, it's just like, oh, this is a depth that I hadn't tapped into yet, or not. I don't want to say I haven't, but it's a different depth that I hadn't got. I didn't have the capacity or maybe the know-how of how to get to. So I had relational depth with God and Jesus, but not to this level. And I'm like, oh wow, this is different. This is going to be like a game changer for me going forward. So
yeah, because I feel like Jesus is always there for me, but do I go to him with everything? Like, Kyle, you have to go to him for everything now. Like, God wants you to ask about everything and what to think, and like the total dependence on God because he's our Lord. And then I can't remember if it was one of the sermons that we heard, but like I think I look at Jesus a lot of times as a friend, but then he is my king, he's my Lord. And so that's why wouldn't I go to him for directions, and why wouldn't I go to him for wisdom and for he commands me to do something, and why wouldn't I do that? He should be my everything. But it's so easy for me to be like, no, but God, I want to do this, and I don't want to do what you want me to do. But then I can't get to that point of being obedient if I don't have a relationship with him either. So,
but I had a funny insight. There was one time, it was in that journey of being fully submitted, and I was like, okay, Jesus, here I am again. And I actually felt bad. Like I felt like I was taking up his time. Like, okay, I'm back again. I need help again. And then he was kind of like, no, this is what I want. I want you to come to me all the time. And but I felt like, but I'm using up your time. You could be with other people. He's like, but I can be with everybody. It doesn't, just because I'm spending time with you doesn't mean you're taking me away. But I had that kind of like,
tension.
But like the loss, what's that? If somebody else wins, somebody else loses. I can't think of the term for that. But like if I'm taking up his time, then I'm taking it from somebody else. And then I was like, yeah, but I know that's not true. But why do I feel that way? And then it was like a big thing for me. Like, oh my gosh, like why have I kept myself from going to him sometimes because I don't want to feel like I'm taking up, or this isn't significant enough, or I can do it on my own. I'll go to him for the big things, but this one I can figure out. That's kind of like, I think, more of my MO before. And I'm like, oh, that's so unhealthy. Like, why did I have that? And so just little insights like that I think are going to be things that will help shape me going forward.
Okay, well, so normally on this podcast, we do talk a little bit about the most recent sermon. And so this past Sunday, I was the one that gave the message this past Sunday, right? So one of the things that I kind of used as one of the applications was, don't be afraid to go back and deal with your stuff, right? And so this has been a journey for Kyle of like, there's been a lot of stuff that he's had to deal with. And, Mimo is a social worker, and she walks with people as they deal with their stuff. She kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. So can you, I don't want to say give a pitch, but like, can you help people to recognize or share with our listeners why it's important to deal with your stuff and like not to be afraid to go back and take care of it and clean it up? And, because I think sometimes it's just, there's a lot of pain involved. There's a lot of, and it's scary. And so,
the enemy uses fear to keep us from doing that all the time.
But then, when we don't clean up our stuff, there's a lot of limitations on our life that we impose on ourselves because we're not willing to go there. So can you help our listeners to recognize or share, like, from your perspective, as someone that's been on this journey with Kyle, that's, walking with people regularly at work, the importance of not letting fear get in the way of you dealing with your stuff?
Yeah. And it's hard, right? Like, so we're so pain avoidant, so we don't want to feel pain, and we automatically associate pain with bad. But pain causes us to grow and then also look at things in a different way too, because we have to actually face the pain that we feel. And so when it's kind of like if you have a wound and you have to like clean it up with like hydrogen peroxide or something, it stings and it hurts, but it's good because it's clean, like killing all the germs that you have. And so there's pain that's necessary. So I think for us, like for my personal, like I had a lie that I believe in, and that was so evident in my life, but I didn't even realize it was a lie that I was believing into. So and I had to deal with it, and it was not fun. But then when I see where Jesus was in it, it made it so much more better that I know that I can keep going, and Jesus was with me the whole time. So like with Kyle too, when he was in painful places, like Jesus always met him there. Like he never left you there, like even though when you felt like I don't have hope or I can't do this anymore. And then I remember when like you would tell me that you're scared, but we try to see where Jesus was in it, when it was hurting. I don't know if I'm really answering your question, but
yeah, I think it's important to remember too that pain is like an indicator that something's wrong. So you can take some pain medication to help alleviate it, but if you don't, like if it's an ongoing symptom, then you're just gonna have to keep taking pain medication, which is avoidance or mind numbing or whatever the person's thing is. But it's always going to be there. So that's the thing. If we don't deal with our stuff, it just stays there, and usually it festers and it boils over into other areas and other parts of our lives, and it comes out. So
I think for like it shows up in relationships or how I deal with other people or and so if I don't, and then I think it hinders my growth too, right? Like if I'm not dealing with the things that are in the past that I should deal with, and that I just keep putting Band-Aids on it or just keep covering it up, it's always there. So like if I want to go deep with Jesus, I can't go deeper because I'm stopping Jesus from allowing me to go to a place where he can heal me, because I'm not allowing him to get there because I'm scared to, or I'm in too much pain, or I'm afraid to deal with the pain. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the enemy uses fear a lot. It's fear of the unknown. Like, I don't know what a procession is going to be like. I don't know if I can trust somebody else to walk with me if I shared this with them. There's fear of, oh, it's going to be painful. It's going to bring up other emotions. I don't like emotions. It's going to be fear of whatever, but people will judge me. He uses fear in a lot of different ways. And I had to fight through a lot of them this journey. And I know that's been a part of my past. And so I recognize them. This was hard because I knew better in my head, but my nervous system wasn't mature enough to handle them. And I'm like, why am I letting this happen? And it's like, it was in some ways out of my hands because I had to just let it naturally kind of reset. But it was a highlight too of like, man, like those things from the past, I'm glad I dealt with them in a lot of ways, because if I hadn't, it would have been even like way harder. And so, fear I know is a big one. So I would just encourage people, like, with our fears, it's never as bad as what we think it's going to be. Mm-hmm. You know, the outcome isn't going to be even close to what we think the fear is telling us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So we are running up a little bit on time for this episode. Mimo, do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I can't really think of anything else that I need to say. I don't know.
You're married to the best man alive, and he made your journey so easy. No, I brought a lot of maturity to you over the last few months. That's what it was. So you're thankful for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got to try and throw some sparks back at her. She gave me some earlier.
I wish this was on video right now so we could have Mimo's face as Kyle is saying all this stuff.
No, it's I think like Kyle said this too, we wouldn't want to go through this again, but at the same time, we wouldn't trade it for the world too. Yeah. What God has brought out of Kyle and then out of me, and out of just seeing his goodness in the difficulties is, you can't ask for anything better than that. Yeah. And I think also for me, I have more sympathy for people that deal with anxiety, like, you know, because I don't really have that out of norm. So when I see people that have a really hard time, like, oh, why can't they just do 1, 2, 3 ABC?
That's what I used to think.
Yeah, and be okay. And it's not that easy. And it's, you know, so it made me have even more empathy for people that go through difficult times. And it could be just a season, or it could be, you know, something that they struggle with for a long time. But, and then seeing that, I'm thankful for the community, and I think more and more people are going to be looking for a community because people are lacking like actual in-person community versus just online community. So it just makes me see the need for us to be aware of how people need the support. So,
how about for you, Kyle? Any last closing thoughts?
No, just that. I think that's the ending part is, that Mimo said, was just relationships. You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not as high relational as she is, but this was like COVID, but worse. You know, COVID, it separated people, but for me, it brought it down to just Mimo and my 2 boys. And as great as they are, it's like, and even then, I could hardly interact with them. And so even that, it was like so bare bones. And then when that grew, that was better. But then there was always like, but I want to be around my church family. I want to be around my extended family. I didn't realize how much that God puts that in us. Like that we're made for relationships with him, but we're made for relationships with each other. And I got a different appreciation for that and like the importance of that.
All right. Well, thanks guys for coming on and sharing your story. Thanks, Mimo, for sharing your side. I've really appreciated and enjoyed this, hearing it from you too.
Yeah, but we'll get more sparks on the drive home.
All right. Well, thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks for listening. And, you know, that's why we have this podcast, is for you. And hopefully you've enjoyed this time as we've walked a little bit along with Kyle, and as he shared his journey, and with Mimo sharing her side of Kyle's journey. So hopefully y'all can recognize the Lord's goodness in difficult times, the ways that they have, and see just the ways that the Lord is growing each of us when difficult things happen, and and hopefully you can experience the Lord's presence in the same way that Kyle has too. So just very thankful to the Lord. He's good. So until next time, may you experience God's heart for you to flourish in every season.